Hello all, welcome to part 3 of the Format String Vulnerability Primer for Hackers video series. Now in the last video, we saw how it is possible to go ahead and print various things from the stack using a user supplied format string. So now coming back to the format string part, the next question arises is what can we do with format string bugs? Where there are a couple of things we can do. The first is crash the program. Secondly, view the stack. We've done a little bit of that in the last demonstration. Then view memory at arbitrary locations. 4 would be overwriting memory once again at arbitrary locations. And finally, 5 is some sort of a code execution happening. So now what we will do for the rest of the video series is pick up each one of these individually and see how we can go ahead and cause these using format string bugs. Now, for the sake of demonstration and to keep things very simple at this stage, I will use very simple programs to demonstrate each one of these. However, I leave it as an exercise to you to look into more complicated programs and see how you can exploit them. A very good source would probably be some of the latest format string bugs which have been discovered and are regularly being posted in mailing lists such as BugTrack. Okay, so now let's move on. So the first thing which you can do with format string bugs is to crash the program. Now, very simply, this can cause a denial of service attack. And, one can only imagine if there is a remote daemon, an FTP daemon such as WUFTPD, which is running and is vulnerable to such a format string vulnerability, then a malicious user could actually shut it down and deny service to others. Another application is that if you're a local user and you manage to go ahead and crash a privileged process and the core gets dumped, then you could use that to inspect and gather more information, or for that matter, even confidential data, if at all that daemon or process is holding that in memory. Okay, so now let's get into a live example of how to crash a program using format string bugs. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just look at our very simple program which we created, right, where we have secret and secret2 and the format string is supplied by the user. Now let's execute this program. So if you remember from the last video, single percentage s gives, this is a secret1, second gives both secret1 and secret2, basically revealing both of the variables. Now what would happen if we give a third percentage s? Right now, if you notice, nothing really happened right now, right? Let's give a fourth percentage s. If you notice, a little bit of garbage was printed. Let's give another percentage s. Now if you notice, we managed to go ahead and crash the process. There happened a segmentation fault and core was dumped, right? So okay, fine, we've managed to crash the process, but the question really arises, what actually happened because of which the crash finally occurred? So to understand that, let's go ahead and load this executable into GDB and run it. So let's actually go ahead and place a breakpoint. Let's place it just before printf is going to be called. And now let's run the program with the 5 percentage s's. right? So we've hit the breakpoint. Let's go ahead and look at what is there in the stack. And let's also print the frame pointer. Okay, so if you notice, if you've been following the previous videos, this is basically the pointer to the two strings, and this is basically the pointer to the format string itself, right? With the 5s's. Now, just from the previous video, when printf receives this format string, what does it try to do? It figures out that there are basically 5 variables on the stack which it needs to pick up and interpret as pointer to strings. So of course, this is that first variable. This is the second variable or the pointer. This is the third pointer. This is the fourth one. And of course, this is going to be the fifth one, right? So basically, if you notice, this pointer points to something, this as well points to something. However, from here onwards, we are not really sure what this points to, and even if it does, is that really a string or not? We are very confident about the first two though, right? And that is where what might really happen is, depending on whether this points to something, if it does, then is that a string or not? If it is a string, then what is going to happen is that will be printed. If it is, let's say, not a string, then you might see some garbage values here and there, or even a crash. And then finally, there is always a possibility that this could point to an address which does not even exist in the program's current address space, in which case you would get a segmentation fault, right? So let's actually continue this program and see what really happened. So basically, if you notice, we got a segmentation fault inside the strlen function or the string length function. Now, basically what happened, right? So basically printf, was going ahead looking at all of these format string variables percentage s is one after the other, and then picking up these pointers from the stack, right? And therein what has happened is, once it picked up one of the pointers, which I suspect was this one, right? This did not really point to a legitimate string, and that is where string length actually failed and actually tried to dereference something which was not really allowed to, and we got a segmentation fault, right? And this is the stack trace. From main we were in printf in turn called vprintf, which in turn called string length. So there could be a variety of other reasons also, depending on exactly what values are there on the stack. Okay, so we can exit GDB now. So well, that's all for this demo. Just wanted to prove that how simple it is to actually crash a program using a format string bug. In the next video, we will look at how to systematically go ahead and chalk out the entire program stack by using format string vulnerabilities. Hope you like this video. I would really appreciate if you can leave a comment behind in the leave a comment section below. Also, if you have any follow-up questions, please post them in the forums and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.